Hi, welcome back to my channel. I'm Lina, and today I'm talking about the romance novels that have disappointed me. This is kind of a rant. It's definitely not a review, but it was sparked by a book in particular that I just finished reading. And I feel kind of bitter that one of the rare books I've read this year. Sorry, I'm just having breakfast. I'm kind of bitter that one of the rare books I've read this year sucked. First, a disclaimer. I am the kind of person who really likes romance. I don't know, I define myself as like a hopeless romantic. I love rom-coms, I love all of the tropes. I cry. I watch like 13 going on 30 almost every year, and I watch Pride and Prejudice multiple times a year. So this does not come from a place of like being prejudiced against the romance genre or anything like that. It's genuinely from a place of frustration at not finding what I want in romance novels. And granted, I've probably not been given the right recommendations for what I want. And I know that there are some people, for example, on BookTube, like Mina Reads, who have pretty much taste in romance that align with mine. And so I know that I should be more careful about who I check recommendations from. But you read a blurb and see like a cute cover and get wrapped up in it. My latest romance disappointment was Fix Her Up by Tessa Bailey. So what was wrong with that book? So much. So the premise is there's this girl, she's a professional party clown. And when she was younger, she had a crush on her brother's best friend, who happens to be a mega baseball star, but he has an injury and he has to come back to their hometown and be a normal person basically. So yeah, that's the premise. And I was like, oh, and yeah, he's supposed to work in construction or whatever. And the premise is that they're going to fake date so that her family can finally take her seriously, even though she's a clown, and that he can get a more family-friendly image to get this job on this commentator job. And so I was like, okay, this seems cute. I like slow burn. With fake dating, you'd expect that there is kind of a slow burn and stuff. So yeah, so on page 7, she has already seen his penis, and yeah, apparently it is his nickname as a baseball player is Two Bats. So yeah, that's kind of irritating. Don't ask me why I kept reading even though it was starting off so wrong. Okay, so the first few pages I was like, okay, this might be a fluke, maybe it's not that bad and stuff. And so I was like, okay, let's keep reading it. It was a good dynamic. But then everything went wrong, and a lot of things that typically irritate me to no end in romance kept popping up. So this whole emphasis on the size disparity. So it's oh, he was so big and muscular, and oh, she was so small. Okay, who cares? It's so irritating to me. There was this huge thing where since he's her brother's best friend, he was feeling bad and feeling he had to apologize at some point. he asked her brother to like punch him in the face, like as if it was any of her brother's business, like who she was doing anything with. This is like deeply annoying to me. Then there's like the part where like he's awfully possessive, and it's shown as like being part of him realizing that he loves her, but it's like, huh, this is really like, I don't know, unhealthy. The level of like he's just playing peacock with other men who like approach her, whereas they're not even in a relationship yet, and he's just like being possessive and stuff. The fact that he only is interested in her once she gets a makeover. What? What else is deeply annoying? Honestly, the sex scenes were weird. There was weirdness all around. Like, at one point they have sex in a limousine and they're like screaming and such. And I'm like, is the driver not hearing y'all? Like, how can y'all do this? Or like another thing that irritated me, wait. Yeah, it's just the whole like, oh yeah, there was like a huge emphasis on the fact that, oh, she was a virgin, and like, oh, no one else had like touched these lips or whatever. And it's like, this was published in 2019. Why does it feel so retrograde? Like, oh yeah, I have other receipts, like, I don't know. It's like, oh yeah, the amount of times he refers to his dick as having like a mind of his own or whatever, and that like at some point he would get an erection from the idea of her voice. Like, no adult man works like that. Like, this is so annoying to me. Yeah, ew. Sorry, he called her baby girl during the whole thing. And you know, part of why I finished this book is because I wanted to finish a book, but also like I still had like, I don't know why, but at some point it was only like halfway through that I realized how bad and how disappointing it actually was, but I felt like I had sunk too much time into it to not finish it. Like, I will DNF a book that I've started a few pages from and I'm just not into, but if you've sunk like 50% into the book, it's like, well, especially since usually romance books I tend to read them in like 1, 2, 3 sittings, and so in one sitting I was just like kind of scrolling through it, irritated. Yeah, at some point he says, I want to own her, like, and that's supposed to be like romantic and him realizing he loves her. Blah, blah, blah. Yeah, at some point he has like a realization that's like, yeah, I want to go jogging with her and sit next to her at family dinners, but most importantly, tell other men to stay the hell away. And what my comment to this was, this sucks actually. Like, yes, it sucks. How is the most important part of your relationship to tell other men to stay the fuck away? It's not fault for reading overhyped straight romances, but it's like the gender roles are all over the place. They're disgusting. There's like so much machismo going on. It's irritating and annoying, and we do not need that. It's so corny and cheesy. Well, yeah, because in Fix Her Up, there's like a B plot, kind of, where like she creates a club with her sister and the wife of a coworker of her brother. Yeah. And they're a club that's supposed to like uplift women. And it's like so badly done, and it's like boring, and I was just skipping through the character of her sister is like really flat and annoying. Also, the main girl doesn't have any friends. I mean, it's so bad. Like, it was so bad. I give it 2 stars because like for the first half I was entertained enough that I kept reading, but genuinely it was bad. And it reminded me of another book that I read that kind of had the same premise. What was it? It must be still on my... Wait. I don't remember it, but it was... Anyways. Fuck. Oh yeah, that was 99% mine. That's kind of the same thing. That's like... The things that I hate is like there's the huge emphasis on like the guys being like huge, and like kind of the idea that they lose their self-control around women, and I don't understand why that is romanticized. I just don't understand. Like there's a huge, and like the sex isn't even good. Like, blah, it's bad. Also, I read The Wall of Winnipeg and Me, which was fine. I mean, it also had this whole like, oh, he's so big and I'm so small, which is annoying. Get that away from me, please. Yes. And so I read that as well. And like, there's this huge build up. And then they have like sex once, I think, or something, and it's bad. And then they get married. Like, also, oh yes, the one thing I hate the most is like they always have some kind of the men usually always have some kind of side trauma. They have a side trauma that is magically resolved at the end of the book. Like, okay, so in Fix Her Up, the guy has like a trauma about like his parents' divorce. It's heavily implied, and even like it's very clear that his parents neglected him and that there was some kind of emotional abuse going on with his father. And so they present this as like this huge thing that he has to overcome, and that he's afraid of commitment basically because he doesn't want to be his father and such, and that's why he only has like one night stands, and that's why they call him Two Bats basically. And so first of all, they act like him going on one night stands makes him like a bad person and hugely unreliable because of that. And they basically like solve his fear of commitment by the girl, the main girl, Georgie. She like gives him attentions and like make him understand his worth, and then by the end of it he magically is free from it and like publicly proposes to her after they are like, as a big gesture, when they've known each other, like they've been fake dating for like 3 weeks. It's so stupid. Like I hate it. It's like, okay, I understand like romances typically have a happy ending, but why does it always have to be a proposal? It's like, I feel like a lot of heterosexual romances put marriage as the be-all end-all of like commitment, when it really doesn't have to be. Like, you can commit to someone and not get fucking married. The guy, like at the beginning of the book, was afraid of marriage and even dating someone for a long time, and of children. And the girl, she's a party clown, she loves children, she's a natural with children. And so like, my leg is falling asleep, he sees her juggle for a child like twice, and then he's like, okay, yeah, I want to have her babies. Like, no, get this away from me. So yeah, that's my main issue with romance novels. I'm sorry, this is so disorganized. Really self-conscious about possibly posting this on my channel because one, so I'm not a huge romance reader, so it might not be welcomed that I speak this way of romances when I've read so few. And also I am trying to overcome my like perfectionism and going off on like a non-scripted rant It's very scary to me. Even though like I'm having fun doing this, but putting it on the internet is a very different thing. So if you're watching this, let me know how you thought it was, if it was entertaining to you, if you found the same flaws, or if you have issues regarding romances. And please, if you have recommendations for romances that really steer clear of those, especially if they're like female romances, I want to read them. And like, or if they're like MF romances but with like characters that aren't straight, please give them to me. I would love to read them. Thank you. I hope you liked this video. If you did, leave a like below. If you want to hear more from me and like maybe follow my like romance novel redemption arc, subscribe, because I do have a few romances that I'm dying to read, because I've been trying to find stuff, but yeah. And yeah, hope to see you soon. Bye. Rainy day. The light is really flat and nice, and I'm procrastinating doing homework since it's not due tomorrow. It's like it's not due at all, you know what I mean? My toast has gotten stale.